Hello there, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Francis Ayeko, and I help professionals, executives, and change makers write powerful op-eds that shape public debate and amplify their influence. In the last episode, we looked at the biggest mistakes people make when writing op-eds. But hey, there you are. You could be asking that, but Francis, you are talking about mistakes people make when writing op-eds. But here I am. I'm still stuck on what to write about. I haven't even gotten I've not even started reached the writing stage. So, if you are one of such people, I'll tell you, don't worry, you are covered, and that is what this episode is about. So today we are talking about how to find irresistible op-ed ideas even when you feel stuck. Whether you are writing your first op-ed or you are writing your 15th, 16th, 17th, or 20th, or even 25th op-ed, we all hit that blank page moment where you're like, what do I really write about? It's something that every writer, whether you are experienced or not, sometimes feel. You want to write, but you don't know what to write about. Meaning you want to write, but you don't have an idea. Also, you think until you search your soul well. But I'll show you how to move past that using sources that are actually around us every day. Let me mention that idea generation is a skill that is not confined to a few individuals. Anybody who wants to write can generate story ideas. The only thing we need to do is always to be attentive, be alert, and be sensitive to your surrounding, what is happening around you. It could be in the news, it could be in your personal life, it could be anywhere, or something you are reading. There's a potential story idea there. But wait, I know I'm going a little bit ahead of myself. We'll get to that in a short while. But before then, I want to bust one common myth that normally surrounds op-ed idea generation. The myth normally is that people think that they need a big idea, big story idea for them to be satisfied that they have a story, something they can write on. That is not really true because you don't necessarily need a groundbreaking idea for you to write a convincing op-ed. It's simply not true because editors aren't looking for genius. All they're looking for is an idea written with clarity, originality, and relevance. So as long as you get a good idea, it does not have to be a huge thing, but it's something that is original. It sounds relevant to many people, especially the readers of the publication you are targeting, and then you write it so clearly after you've done your research well. Then you're onto something. You'll get a story published. So that's a myth that we need to get behind us. You don't need to have a PhD or be a government advisor for you to write an op-ed. All you need is an opinion that is informed. Actually, it's called informed opinion. Op-ed is informed opinion. So it should be an informed opinion. It should be timely. You write on something that is timely, something that's topical, something that is current, and it's something that adds a new lens to an ongoing conversation. It's adding something new to to some conversation that is already going on, or whatever you are writing about, which I'm saying should be topical. And guess what? That lens could come from anywhere. It could come from your job. It could come from your neighborhood. It could come from your personal journey, just telling your personal story in a way that can help others, or even your frustrations. So, your everyday experience can give birth to extraordinary op-eds, and I've seen that happen a lot. Someone just relaying or writing about their experiences, and people find it relatable, people find it useful, people find it nice to read. So all you need to do is just to learn how to spot an idea. So I just thought you needed to know about that myth, and we have just burst that myth. Now dive into it. We are going to talk about 6 powerful sources of op-ed ideas that will help you get unstuck even whenever you feel you don't have something to write about. So let's go through 6 ideas, idea sources that never run dry. If you rely on this, if always you remember, if you feel you're dry and you tune into one of these sources, you think about one of these sources, if you take time to think keenly, they will trigger an idea in your mind. So for each, as we talk about them, I'll give you examples so that we can see how to spot and shape our own ideas. So point number one, or number one source of story ideas, and I'm dealing with just ordinary things. You don't really have to be an academic. I'm not saying you'll have to go read books. You'll have to read journalism books. You don't have to. These are everyday things that if we pay attention to, they are going to be very helpful. You don't necessarily need to read anything. So idea number one, or source number one, is the news circle. And tell me, who among you does not watch news on TV, listen to news on radio, read newspaper stories, or any other? I mean, we have so many sources of news nowadays that no one can validly complain. I mean, claim that they don't know what is happening. So just out of what is happening, you can get a good story idea. So the best approach is to ask yourself, what is everyone talking about in the headlines today? What exactly is happening? So once you ask yourself, um, the answers you get and will give you an idea of what kind of stories you can write about. Of course, it should be a story that is in your area of interest. So you can ask yourself maybe something like, is there a policy change, a crisis, a public figure statement that ties into your work or interests? So your work or interests should be something that really interests you. Again, it could be maybe something like, the government might propose changes to housing policy, for instance. Then if you're an urban planner, then you've got a hot angle. So you just pick an angle, you look at the changes and see what contribution you can make to that debate. So that will be a good story idea. So one great source of story ideas, and you can never go wrong with this because every day there's something new. Every day there's something in the news, something hot, something people are protesting, people are talking about. You need to plug in there. And if you look keenly and you remember your area of interest, there will always a perspective that suits you there. So be on the lookout for the news circle. Number two, you can also get story ideas from your lived experience. What have you gone through personally or professionally that others can learn from? Those are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. You just look into your life that is there some personal experience that I've had, that I've gone through? It could be something happening now, something that happened just a few days or a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, or even some years back, but then still it can be triggered by something going on now so that it's topical. As I said, it should be something timely. You look for a way of making it timely. If it's something that happened a few years ago, something must have triggered that in you. So the moment you find yourself thinking about some things, you're thinking about your life and wondering, there's a story idea there. You can share your story in a way that is going to help other people. You don't really have to overshare. I think that's sometimes is our fear that, but it's about my life, my personal life. So you think about privacy. You don't want people to let people into your life. You don't need to overshare. You only need to share what is unique about your experience that others will find relevant and useful. And that way you have a good story idea. For example, a former addict writing about Kenya's rehab failures can write about uh, failures of rehab centers in Kenya, or a job seeker can write about the hustle of chasing opportunities, how hard it is to get an opportunity. And, you write it in such a way that many people will find it useful and relevant. Of course, because you're writing an op-ed, it needs to be supported. It needs to be backed up with facts and details, a bit of research here and there. But most of the time, we would also like to hear your voice in the story. Let's know what you think about this issue. That's what I mean by your voice in the story. So that it's not just you quoting people and citing research and studies here and there. We want you to share your personal experience and what you've learned. Then you put it in context. You make it broader by, bringing in other examples from elsewhere or some data that support your point of view. So lived experience or your own life can be a great source of story ideas. Number 3, conversations. I once read, someone once said, and I read this in a book, that story ideas are everywhere, even in a good handshake. Someone shakes your hand, and if you're attentive enough, you can get a story idea from that handshake. Can you imagine? Okay, let's talk about source number 3. And I call these conversations. Source number 3 is conversations. What keeps popping up in your WhatsApp groups, in staff meetings, in family discussions, wherever you are? What do people in your circle keep talking about, whether it's online, whether it is in some meetings? Is there a general topic people are talking about? That means it's something that is of concern to people, and that would make for a good op-ed topic. It can be conversation anywhere. In Kenya, people in our cities, in our towns, people use public transport, popularly known as matatus or in buses. So if there's a conversation, a general conversation, people are talking in a matatu, or you could even strike up a conversation with your neighbor, then you'll know. In other words, conversations are like, gives you the pulse of what is going on around you or around the country, apart from the big news that is normally reported in the papers, in radios and on TVs. So a good example here is if your friends can't stop talking about insecurity, for instance, or poor roads or mental health, you should know that there's a story idea that's brewing there. Any conversation you hear about, anything you hear about, anything you read about, even on social media, which I'm going to now, should be a good source of story idea. So as I said earlier, you just need to have your antenna high. In journalism or in writing, newspaper writing or news writing, it's called having a nose for news. Always being alert to being alert to anything that's around you, that you are hearing, that you are seeing, that you are thinking, that will trigger a story idea in you. So conversations can be very quick and easy sources of story ideas. So let's go to, I promised 6. We are on number 4 now. We are going to number 4 now. And that is a common one that almost everyone knows. So do you own a smartphone? Yes. Quite a big percentage of people, especially in Kenya, own smartphones, even in rural areas. So that means you're on social media. So number 4 is social media trends. By just scrolling through social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, name it, you'll see a lot of things happening there. So, what is sparking debate or outrage on those platforms? That would give you a clue about what you need to write about. It's not everything that you'll pick, but something that piques your interest and you think you can deliver, you can do a good job of it. For example, if there's a viral video of a border rider being harassed by police, sometimes it's the other way around. A transport policy analyst could weigh in with a fresh perspective. So social media is a very rich source of story ideas. And I wanted to add that apart from waiting, as you read them, as you read those posts, pay particular attention to the comment section. You know, someone posts or a story is posted, and then people react. Some react, some respond. It's all more or less the same. So pay close attention to what people are saying about the post or about the story that has been posted. So comment section is a rich source of ideas. It helps you know and understand what people are thinking. Even if someone throws in a casual statement there, it can trigger something in you. So don't just scroll through social media platforms for entertainment. If you are really serious about writing stories or getting story ideas, then consider it as one of the rich sources of story ideas. So let me share number 5, source number 5, which is special dates. Special dates on our calendars. So every week or even every month, the world is this a world something day. Have you ever heard world this and that? I think this weekend, is it on Sunday? Will be Father's Day. Just last week was World Environment Day. So there's always something being some international event being celebrated almost around the world. So let me just call it a World Something Day. So whenever if you tune closely to what is going on, you will know, especially in your field of interest, you will know that some big event, big celebration, world celebration is coming up, and you can write an op-ed tied to that day. Editors love that because sometimes they don't even remember. So it's a great opportunity for you to write a story as long as it's insightful. And if you market it well to the editors, they will use it. Uh, because not all the time do they remember that it's a world something day. So we have World Environment Day, we have World Diabetes Day, which is coming up. So you just need to share your stories or your thoughts on this. Let that be a trigger for you to a story that will coincide with that day. And remember, as I said, good opinion articles should be topical. They should be timely. So if you write a story that coincides with a special day, it's mostly likely to be published. And we also have anniversaries related to that. Let me just add, related to that, we also have anniversaries. Something is being marked, maybe the 10th anniversary of something, maybe every year in Kenya, we mark bomb blast anniversary, something that happened over almost 2 decades ago. So anything big, an anniversary that concerns almost everybody, or which almost everybody, most people know about, is a good opportunity to piece together something insightful and share with the public through the newspapers. So I'm moving to the final point, which is point number 6. And remember, I'm just sharing the easy sources of story ideas, ordinary sources of story ideas. Nothing really complicated. You don't have to have learned journalism, communication, and all that. As long as you know what op-ed is all about, and you can put something together, you can write something together, then you're good to go. The last one is personal frustrations. So, what is really annoying, broken, or unfair in your world or around you? That is raw material for to be processed into a story idea. So you'll not really scream, but you'll provide insights or answers to some of those begging questions or issues that are annoying you. So whatever it is, if your rent keeps going up, but services are poor, you could write about tenant rights or landlord regulation. And that is at a personal level. But those who live in urban centers like Nairobi keep complaining about being taxed, but the services are very poor. So if it frustrates you, you can write something about it. The other day, I saw someone wrote about some bus terminal in Nairobi, and how it can ease traffic and something like that. It was not a big story, but it was an op-ed that was published in a major daily newspaper in Kenya. So it's all about being alert, and if you know your strength, you know your interest, it becomes very, very easy for you to spot story ideas from any source, including personal frustrations, things that you're like, who will really save us from this? Who will really save us from these bad things? So, what is your version of this, if I may ask? And I just want to encourage you that you don't need to wait for inspiration if you are serious about op-ed writing. All you need is to start paying attention. As I said, you need to have your antenna up there, always alert to your environment. You question things. You ask questions like why is this happening like this? Why is so and so saying something like this? You know, always being alert or attentive. That's the most important thing. But I want to leave you with another tip here, because from these sources, you can get so many story ideas, and you will not always write about all of them at the same time. So I want to give you a challenge that you need to start keeping a topic bank or a story idea bank. That is a fancy name, yeah, just a fancy name for a notebook or a digital file where you write down every potential or opinion idea, no matter how random it seems. So just note it down. There's power in writing down something when it's still fresh, when you think about it and it's still fresh on your mind. So over time, before you know it, you'll have 10, 20, or even 50 angles, so story ideas ready when the right hook or headline shows up. So develop that culture of writing down ideas as they cross your mind. Sometimes we have people, especially in the newsrooms, who make newspaper cuttings. Something, they see a story somewhere and they're like, I think this one might come in handy one day. So what do? They make a newspaper cutting and they file it away. But nowadays things are very easy. Just write down something and one day you'll find it useful. So it's a good practice that will make sure that you don't run dry of story ideas. Allow me to wrap up, because I promised 6 sources of story ideas which I've shared. So allow me just to do a quick wrap up. I want to recap the 6 sources of great op-ed ideas. One of them is the news. Then 2, your lived experience. Then 3, conversations. 4, social media trends. 5, special dates. And finally, 6, personal frustrations. I want to assure you that if you tune into those 6, you'll never run out of things to say or to write about. So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love if you followed the podcast, left a review, or shared it with a friend. I also want to urge you, for those who are watching us on YouTube, to subscribe so that whenever we have something new, we post something new, you will be alerted. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and all our social media platforms. And whenever there's something new, you'll be alerted, and I believe you will enjoy. If you want to help turning your next idea into a powerful op-ed and a publishable one, please check out my writing course or DM me directly. We normally call it Opinion Writing for Impact and Income. So this is an 8-week course where we teach professionals how to write op-eds and even pitch them to newspapers or to editors so that they can be published. Until next time, stay observant, stay opinionated, and keep writing. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.